I feel like when something's named the Vancouver International Airport terrorist hijacking, you know something's up. The origin of the affair lay in a security forces raid on the stronghold of an extremist group known as the Divine Textbook. What? Launched by the DoD as part of an ongoing hardline policy against insurgents of all sorts. Following a violent firefight, the group's leader, one Arn Malik, Malik from Knights of the Old Republic, had been captured and taken into custody. The Divine Textbook, founded in 1964, held Western education to be the root of all evil. I mean, they'd carried out a long campaign of anti-government resistance, funded largely through drug dealing and kidnap for ransom. And in the recent years, they had launched a series of attacks on churches, police stations, and military facilities. That's punctuated by repeated shootouts with Homeland Security forces. The president, who'd publicly committed to stamping out terrorist activity, ordered a thorough search and destroy operation. The resulting raid killed 65 members of the organization and robbed them of their leader. In response, the group had occupied Vancouver International Airport, from which Mr. Malik was scheduled to be extradited for trial. Using the website of a local newspaper, they'd posted demands for his release. Long story short, it was basically one of those give us our boss back or we'll blow up a bunch of crap deals. Not so different from a fight between children, except in terms of scale. Of course, this was something of a problem for all the big shots who'd spent the last few years making grandiose promises about the elimination of terrorism. If they agreed to release Malik, their opponents would spin it as a violation of their public commitments. But if the commotion got out of hand, their competence would be called into question. Neither outcome seemed to be appetizing. Dude, that's like a lose-lose. I'm not sure how the behind-the-scenes wrangling went, but one way or another, they ended up appealing for assistance from the anti-terror forces of numerous allied nations, making the whole tangled mess even more complicated.
ウェブで公開された要求はアルヌ・マリクの解放と6000万ドル。テロ指導者の解放も無理なら身代金も法外だ。とてもじゃないが飲める要求じゃない。
Send me in. I got this. Oh God, no.
しかしですね、空港施設に居合わせた約400人の人質の中には財界人や著名人、政府関係者やシンポジウムに参加していた学会関係者も多数います。
Damn, they hit at the right fucking time, dude.
まあ、西側の人間を標的にしているのは明らかでしょうな。人質の拘束が始まってすでに6時間です。そろそろ体力的に限界を迎える人間も出る頃でしょう。身代金の交渉をしつつ、病人に老人や子供、それに女性の解放を逆要求するべきでは。そんな交渉はもう4時間も前から行っていますよ。その結果が当初3000万ドルだった身代金が6000万ドルになった。
He's like, this is why we have the 60 million.
金の問題ではないということか。そういうことです。無駄な交渉に時間がかかればかかるほど安全な国としてのカナダの信用が落ちていく。さっさとアルヌ・マリクを解放しろと、そういうことです。
I don't... Dude, it's a tough situation.
バカバカしい。同じ話を何度繰り返す気だ、貴様ら。
Oh, Lord.
代理人の方は発言を控えていただきたいですな。そもそも特殊部隊による突入は日本政府の強い要望で断念と決断されています。
Well, sometimes you gotta get a little dirty every now and then.
こっちも遊びで来ているわけじゃない。人質の中にはアメリカ人も大勢含まれているんだ。不活に要求を飲まれて敵性国に亡命でもされてみろ。袋叩きにされるのは目に見えている。
大体ですね。何かといえばすぐに武力と 内政干渉も考慮せずに拳を振り上げるだけの人間がこの場の会議に参加していること自体が問題で。
Hey, 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 hey! Don't even be talking that.
日本大使館からの回答が出ました。条件付きで特殊部隊の介入を黙認するとのことです。
Oh, well, perfect.
なんだと？条件は？
日本人を殺すな、だろ。たったそれだけのことを決めるのに何時間使う気だ。
どうするつもりですか？
プランはとっくに提出してあるはずだ。あとは我々のやり方に任せてもらう。
空港施設の破壊は極力避けていただけるんでしょうな。それと計画表には1300メートルの遠距離狙撃と記載されていますが、問題ないのですか？
Oh, you don't gotta worry about that.
何？簡単な話だ。要は自爆用の爆弾のスイッチを持っているやつを潰して、あとは強襲制圧すればいい。
And luckily, they got just the sniper for the job.
いえ、そういうことではなく、屋内や建物の屋上からの狙撃は犯行グループも当然警戒しています。
Good thing we're unconventional sometimes.
屋外の、それも超長距離の狙撃ですよ。立地条件的にも常に強風が吹いていますし、今の時期は霧が多く発生します。とても狙撃できる環境じゃない。
You underestimate my power.
世の中にはそれを最初の一発でぶち当てるやつがいる。私が知っているだけでも3人は心当たりがある。
ではその3人の誰かに依頼を。
そうしたいところだが、1人は18年前に死んでる。もう1人は右目の視力を失って体感。最後の1人も若干だが問題がある。
Listen, you just gotta take out my pin. That's all you need.
刑務所に入ってるとか？
まだジャパンアーミーアカデミーで後期訓練中だ。
I mean, that's true, but pull me out. How long we got?
自衛官だというのか？
いや、SARS の予備工作員だ。
予備学生を現場に出すのは問題があるのでは？アンチマテリオの使用許可をいただければ、うちの狙撃班でもなんとか。
うちは例の電極銃問題以降、オーバーキルに過敏でね。できればよその人間に任せたいところだが。
The electrode gun?
そのための外部協力でしょうよ。問題は確実に一発で仕留める必要があるということだ。大尉の言うその予備学生はやれるのかね？
You're damn right. Come on.
それは私が保証しましょう。ただ、日本から呼び寄せるとなれば、それなりに金がかかる。
In like an instant? No.
構わん。費用はうちが出す。今すぐ呼び寄せてくれ。
では、失礼して電話を。
Oh, yes. I'm excited.
私だ。
Oh.
私だ！アニエス・ギャレット大尉だ！
Oh my god.
ああ、挨拶はいい。貴様に頼みたい仕事がある。あのな、風見。私は一応貴様の上官だぞ。少しは態度に気を使えんのか？それと、私をアニーと呼ぶな！
Just kidding.
何やら面倒そうな相手ですな。
Oh boy, you don't know the half of it.
私は何かとんでもない選択ミスをしたんじゃないか。
No, you made the best mistake of your life.
それで、来られるのか？なんだ、言ってみろ。なんだと？そんなバカな条件があるか？悪ふざけも大概にしろ！
Yuuji, what are you doing?
相手は何と言ってきているのかね？
I could probably take a few guesses.
ジャイケル・マクソンの隣でバスケの試合が見たいからチケットを用意しろと言ってる。
That's not one thing I expected.
ジャイケルはもう死んだと教えてやれ。
こいつは知ってて言ってるんだ。要は行きたくないと言ってるんだろ。
I'm just giving a lot of shit.
いいから来い。 今すぐ来い。10分後には現地の人間を迎えに出す。手荒に扱われたくなければ準備して待っていろ、バカ者め。口の悪いところまで師匠に似てきよって。くそ。
I learned from the best.
大丈夫なのですかな
These two are like, oh,
問題ない。
oh, what are we gonna? Oh, as always, Captain Garrett didn't have much of a sense of humor. I don't make a habit of refusing invitations from women, but being called halfway around the world with a single phone call, I knew I was a pawn, but this felt a bit much. Judging from the way my ride showed up prematurely after 2 minutes instead of 10, and the fact that it was a MV-22 Osprey instead of a car, the situation seemed to be fairly urgent. Before I even had a chance to murmur a few admiring words about the tilt rotors, I was pushed into the aircraft, still holding my favorite rifle to my chest. And as soon as they strapped me firmly into my seat, the details of the operation popped up on the ICS. The Osprey immediately headed out to sea, traveling as far as it could and then landing on an aircraft carrier. There, I boarded a C-2 transport plane, which hopped over to the NATO airport. As they were refueling us for the last leg of the journey, a large number of people with special forces patches on their uniforms climbed aboard. I was used to this kind of atmosphere, but that didn't mean I wanted to make small talk. At times like this, pretending to be asleep was always the best move. Don't deal with these people.
えい、ショーティ。相変わらずのんきなやつだな。これから現場だったのに寝てやがる。
いや、ダニー。彼は寝てないよ。寝てるふりをしているだけでも疲れは取れるからね。そうだろ、ユーズリー。
Ah, the squad's back together. Huh? Danny? Robbie? They called you two as well?
君が呼ばれたのなら僕も呼ばれるさ。僕はヤブ犬正体の頭脳だからね。
God damn it.
冗談じゃねえ。俺はカリフォルニアでよろしくやってたっつうのに突然呼び出した。仕事サボってドーナツ食ってるところを無理やり連行されたぜ。
Dude, I'd be just as pissed as you, Danny. What about the others?
ジェイ・ショイとエディは先に現地入りしている。ミリーはまあ転化しちゃったから今回は不参加だよ。
She switched specialties.
知らなかったのかい？彼女航空団へ転属願いを出して先月からミラマーに行ってるよ。
There it is.
本当は君を追いかけて日本に行くためにズケラン勤務を希望したらしいけど、そう簡単にはいかないよね。そもそもバカだし。
Oh, come on. I mean,
そういうお前だってアキーバに憧れて日本勤務を希望したらしいじゃないか。
僕は頭がいいからね。ちゃんと赤坂勤務になったさ。
I'm big and smart. I'm a nerd. What? You're in Japan now, Robbie?
日本とアメリカを行ったり来たりだけどね。最近は市ヶ谷の地下で仕事してるよ。
Damn it. Wait. Why didn't you say anything? We could have met up.
諜報一課の仕事だからね。簡単には外と連絡が取れないのさ。
Hold the hoozle there. And there's a pretty thick wall between them and CIRS from what I hear.
そういうこと。
日本っていや、俺の妹も日本の大学に行きたいとか抜かしてやがる。どいつもこいつも日本ってそんなにいい国なのか？
So, my brain. It's like working overtime right now. Hold on. That's kind of a tough question, but on the whole, I guess it's not bad.
いいかい？驚くなよ、ダニー。日本の街にはそこら中にコンビニと自動販売機がある。もうそれだけで治安の良さはわかるんじゃないか？
昔からティッシュとコンドームが丈夫な国は豊かでいい国だって言うけどよ。俺もそのうち行ってみるかな。
おっと、J 少尉からの最新情報だ。
Oh God.
状況に変化あり。どうやら人質の中に糖尿病患者がいたらしくて、僕らの到着を待っている余裕がなくなったみたいだね。
Oh no.
現時刻より17分前に空港警察の狙撃犯によって犯行グループのリーダーを射殺。同時に突入犯による突入を開始。同犯により施設内の一部制圧に成功。一部を除き人質の救出に成功。
Well, alright.
現在は施設内に設置された爆発物の撤去作業中だってさ。
なんだよ、俺らが行く前に終わっちまったのかよ。つか俺ら何しに来たんだよ。
Huh, guess we weren't needed.
いや、ここでアペンドミッションだ。
Oh, okay.
突入を回避したテロリストの一部が人質を一人連れて逃走。エプロンに待機中だったビジネスジェットを占拠して立てこもりを始めたらしい。
Oh, I can take care of this. I got this.
かあ、捕まってんじゃねえよ。どんくせえ野郎だな。
I mean, you can't help it.
野郎じゃないよ。逃走したテロリストの手の内に落ちた人質は1名。性別は女性。年齢は不明だけど中学生と推測されるってさ。名前は現在調査中だって。
参ったな。ガキを人質にされるとうかつに手は出せないぞ。
Hold on there. Hold the hoozle.
そう。我らが麗しのギャレット隊から入電。読むかい？
Yes, please.
初アニエス・ギャレット対当てケイザミー・ユーズリー。今すぐ来い、とっとと来い、貴様が必要だ。以上原文まま。
I love her.
随分と焦ってるな。
You think?
状況が変わったみたいだね。立てこもった犯人は3名。狙撃を警戒しているから近寄れない。滑走路の端っこから無線で要求を伝えてきているらしい。
What do they want?
燃料とパイロットだね。犯人の中には操縦できるやつが一人もいないらしい。それと北朝鮮までの燃料を要求してる。
Oh, well,
ネゴシエーターを通じてパイロットと人質を交換する提案が出されているから、人質救出のチャンスはそのタイミングの一度きり。遮蔽物のない滑走路だし、射距離は2000に近い。
that's child's play. 2,000? That's not gonna work. Even with special ammo and perfect condition, 1600's as good as it gets. And given the weather there, it's more like 800.
近すぎれば犯人に見つかる。遠すぎれば当たらない。そんな状況で与えられたオーダーは救出だ。人質は必ず殺さずに救い出せとさ。
人質は一人なんだろう。殺しちまったら手札がなくなるのは向こうだ。走行車両で近づいて一気に制圧しちまえばいいんじゃないか。
I feel like that's extra dangerous.
これは未確認の情報だけど、どうやら人質になっている中学生は西側の重要人物に関係する演者らしい。死なせると面倒だよ。
God damn it. Everyone's important. I'm not saying it's impossible, but we don't have the right equipment or anything else prepared. When you can't look around the site beforehand, it's damn hard to finish the job on the first shot. When you're sniping under disadvantageous conditions like fog or darkness, whether or not you've seen the site with your own two eyes makes a huge difference in your ability to correct by feel. Even with spotters feeding you of the precise range, your sense of distance is always going to be a little off. In most cases, the first shot ends up landing short of the target. All you could do is try to compensate from experience, but that really can only get you so far. The training I'd received in the military was less focused on never missing and more on recovering after the initial miss.
機材に関しては問題ないよ。ミリーが点火するときにもう使わないからって置いていったチェイタが現地に用意してあるって J 少尉から連絡が来てる。
Cheddar. That's an anti-material rifle, isn't it?
生き物を撃つのが苦手なお前にはちょうどいいじゃねえか。
It's not really that simple.
当然弾も弾頭に二硫化タングステンを精密ショットピーニング処理したものを用意してある。
Okay, alright. Guess it all comes down to skill and luck then. By perfect combination! Even Kuskabe Asuko herself was said to have an effective range of 1600 meters. Given the same equipment and presented with the same conditions, I couldn't produce results equivalent to hers. I just wasn't as good as her yet. For one thing, her powers of concentration were superior to mine. For another, she had years upon years more of experience. In the first place, while Asuko had taught me the fundamentals and lectured me on the sniper's mindset, she'd never given me any advanced training. In the words of the woman herself, I spent 10 years getting this good. It ain't the sort of thing you can figure out from a bit of advice. Once you're past a certain skill level, the only way to improve is by picking up the tricks through sheer experience. Not exactly helpful. It was frustrating to know that Asuko could do things that I couldn't. For a while there, I tried imitating her in every possible way. But eventually, I realized there was no way I'd ever catch up using that method. By the time I got to where she'd been, Asuko had already improved even further. After that, I started testing out my own methods, trying to find a technique that Asuko wouldn't be able to manage. Fundamentally, Asuko's sniping relied on her incredible vision and her instincts, honed through years of experience. My eyesight was just as good as hers, but the difference in experience, that was hopelessly massive. And so, the method I came up with was based instead on vision and visualization. Yeah, loud and clear. Haven't heard you call me that for a while. Lieutenant, really brings me back. I don't know why I said that like there was a period there, but whatever. Forget the wind. I can't see anything but fog. My visibility's less than 10 meters. God, this is really an impossible shot. Yuuji, I'm doubting us. I can't see anything except a vague shape. When I stared at it as hard as I could into the gloom, I could sense something in the darkness where my gun was pointing, but for all I knew, it was nothing more than a visual illusion produced by wishful thinking on my part. When I held my eye to the scope, all I saw was a field of white. Every once in a while, the wind would part the curtains, if you could call it that slightly, giving me brief glimpses of a white object. But then the fog would swallow it up again. After staring into the scope long enough, the constant lateral movement of the fog started to make me feel like I was gliding back and forth myself. How the hell am I supposed to hit anything under these conditions? Damn it, my eyes are spinning. I have 10 minutes? Are you fucking serious? No, not a chance. Can I go home now? No, please, don't do this to me. Wait, come on, no.
聞け風見軍人に無理なんて言葉はない。軍人にやってやれんことなどないのだ。貴様はわざわざ日本から呼び寄せた私の顔に泥を塗る気か。
Come on, like, I'd rather cover it with something else, Annie. Ah! God fucking damn it.
貴様。
God fucking damn it. Only a joke, Captain Carrot. That's pretty good. I died there.
守備よく任務に成功したら好きなものを塗らせてやる。とにかくやれ。貴様の価値を高く評価している私を裏切るなよ。
Damn, now I have to win. Hi, ma'am. Somehow I'd obtained permission to smear anything I wanted onto a pompous officer's face. In the military, a bit of whining can pay off once in a while. That said, sorry it didn't work out, wasn't gonna cut it at this point. A blindfolded shot at an invisible target, huh? It's not like I'd never done it before. On Asuko's mountain, I'd given myself similar challenges several times, and during night combat, I often had to fire into the darkness, relying on muzzle flashes to locate my enemies. It never affected my accuracy. Most first-rate snipers aren't reliant on their scopes. Just like my master, they can hit their targets solely based on instinct and experience. For them, a scope is nothing but a supplementary tool, allowing them to visualize their shot with greater clarity. A scope is a crutch. There's something other than simple vision at work there. They're seeing with their mind's eye. For me, that meant concentrating until I could see colors in the air, a method reliant on visualization, compensating for my lack of experience. I'd gotten the idea from my sister's photographic reading. When Kazuki concentrated, she was capable of rapidly memorizing books as a series of images in her mind, but any color information would usually be lost. However, when she concentrated even more intently, she was capable of discerning colors as well. I guess I'd compare it to those optical illusions that used to be popular, the ones where you'd stare at a monochrome pattern until a full color image emerged. Dude, those fuck with me. If you convince yourself that you're looking at something, your eyes will start to see it. With enough concentration, even the wind can take on a visible color. Think of an enemy as a pig, and they'll look like a pig. Conveniently enough, that's just the way my mind works. Oh god. Yep, loud and clear.
観測装置の設置が終わった。データを送るから PC を立ち上げてくれ。
It's already running.
画面の左上にヤブ犬のアイコンがあるだろう。それをダブルクリック。
Alright, what bush dog icon? It's not there.
そんなわけないだろう。よく見てくれよ。
Wait, are you talking about this icon of the girl with dog ears on her head?
そう、それそれ。そのヤブ犬的な妹のアイコンをダブルクリックしてくれ。
Bush dog emote. You really need to get that illness of yours treated.
まあ、僕の個人的な趣味はさておき。今君が立ち上げたアプリケーションは僕が作ったデジタルスポッター、下平平ちゃんのバージョン 4.02 だ。
Oh, digital spotter. I like it.
と言っても、対地音響センサータブレットの制御プログラムを改造したものだけれどね。各所に配置したセンサーから風速や大気密度なんかの気象情報を集め、ついでに地磁気やコリオリなんかも衛星とリンクして計算してくれる優れもの。
I think you did good work here, Robbie.
見えないのなら見ないで撃てばいい。飛行機の景気飛行みたいなものさ。言ってみれば景気射撃ってやつだね。
Instrument sniping? You fucker. You're not the one out here.
あとは計算で出た数字を見ながら想像して、ミリーのチェイタを信じて引き金を引くだけだ。
Well, I'll give it a shot.
じゃあ最後に手順の確認だ。人質の交換が始まった時点で射撃規制が解除される。一番槍は君だ。君の第一射で犯人を無力化と同時にダニーが率いる制圧部隊が高機動車で急襲。部隊突入後はこちらに任せてくれればいい。大切なのは絶対に外さないことだ。人質を一切傷つけることなく確実に無力化してくれれば、あとは全部こちらでやる。いいかい？
The most pressure, dude. Got it. Just let me concentrate for a while.
射撃規制解除は5分後だ。幸運を。
Jesus Christ. Slowly, deliberately, I pushed the air from my lungs. They'd given me 2 of those special bullets. I loaded them into the chamber, one at a time, careful not to damage their coated tips. The gun felt a bit different from my usual rifle. Fortunately, this wasn't my first time holding Shedda. Millie had let me borrow him like 3 times before. Unlike his owner, he was a straightforward guy without any odd quirks. Don't wonder if you're going to hit the target. Don't think about the possibility of failure. No matter how carefully you aim, you'll end up missing every single time you do. There's only one question worth asking yourself at a time like these. Am I actually calm right now? In the Navy, the traditional trick is to check the time. Glance down at your watch, check the current hour, minute, and second. If you could tell what time it is, that's proof you're calm. It's something our instructors taught us, alright? You might think that sounds awfully simple. I kinda do. But when you're on an actual battlefield with bullets flying back and forth, it really can be surprisingly challenging to read the time. Okay, yeah. With an analog watch, you won't be able to tell the difference between the hour hand and the minute hand. And if it's a digital model, you won't be able to recognize the segmented numbers on the screen for what they represent. When your head's too full of other thoughts, even the simplest tasks become impossible. I glanced down at my wrist and checked my watch's display. The time was 1432:14. The hold fire order was probably going to be lifted in less than 3 minutes. Still, I could read the time just fine. Okay, that's good. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. We got this. I closed my eyes and took another deep breath. And then, holding my finger to the trigger to remind myself what it felt like, I began to focus on the task at hand. Oh, Jesus Christ. Consciously steadying the rhythm of my breathing, I peered through my scope. The only thing visible was pure white fog, flowing past like spilled milk trickling across the table. All I needed was a glimpse. A fraction of a second would be enough. I wouldn't forget what I saw. I'd record it in my mind and burn that image into my eyes. Just what? Oh, God damn it. There it was. Ah! Dude looking mega nasty. And God damn it, by the way. Just... No problem. It was only a glimpse, but I captured it perfectly. There wasn't any different from fighting at night. Using brief bursts of light to spot the enemy, I just had to approach it the same way. Oh, okay. Convince yourself they're visible. You'll start to see the colors. Oh, it's pure visualization. The more you concentrate, the clearer the image becomes. It was fine. I could see him. Oh. More importantly, when were they going to let me shoot? Sooner or later, this image of mine was going to dissolve back into the mist. Perfect! Go! About time. Oh! Aiming at the image I'd formed in my mind, I pulled the trigger. The firing pin smacked into the case, detonating the primer. Propelled forward by exploding gunpowder, the bullet burst out of the rifle's barrel, spinning rapidly as it went. I couldn't follow it with my eyes, of course. But even so, by the time my mentally colored image faded back to monochrome, the shot I'd fired reached its target. Jesus fucking Christ! Bang.
狙撃兵による着弾を確認。着弾を確認。A 班、B 班、C 班、各班突入を開始。突入を開始せよ。
So this is what this was, huh? Crap. I didn't hit the hostage, did I?
よくやったブーメラン。今そちらに迎えを回す。
Son of a bitch, dude. Tell him to bring a barf back, will ya? Ugh. I think I'm gonna hurl.
くだらん冗談をほざいてる余裕があるなら大丈夫だ。戻ってこい、ブーメラン。
There's no jokes right now, though. None. Oof. They say bullets you fire on the battlefield will come flying right back at you someday. But for the moment, I'm still alive. Guess I'm lucky that way. In the chaotic minutes that followed, the assault by our suppression team ended up getting badly out of sync with the airport police. As the hostage sat on the ground in a daze, one of the surviving terrorists managed to grab her. Are you fucking serious? Then made a run for a high-speed boat moored at the nearby pier. You fucking serious? After all my work,
そこでこの俺様の登場ってわけよ。
I gotta save someone important.
人質を抱えたままもやい綱を解こうとしている犯人に向かって渾身のタックル。ダーン、うわーってな。
Oh, well. You probably shouldn't have knocked the hostage into the sea with him.
だっておめえ、銃とか使って人質に当たったらシャレになんねえだろ。どうせ相手は丸腰だしな、タックルすんのが一番早いだろうが。
Alright. I ain't gonna argue.
どうよ、この俺の起点。お前にも見せてやりたかったぜ、俺の勇姿。
Well, I saw the whole thing, but by the time I ran over to help, The terrorist who tried to escape was already in custody, and the middle school hostage who'd fallen into the sea was thrashing around in the water. You know what? At least I'm glad we found out the exact incident that we saved her from this whole time.
イエーイショーティー見ろよ面白いぜつかこの中学生さっきから何を叫んでるんだ
Huh, sounds like she can't swim.
何どうしてそれを早く言わねえんだよ
What the hell she I think she's been screaming for a while, actually.
あだって俺日本語わかんねえもんよ
God. Come on, stop poking with the oar. Sure you don't want to help? We went through lots of trouble saving the kid, but at this rate she's gonna drown.
そらマジいなとりあえずなんか日本語で声かけてやれよショーティー
Hey, you have any last words? Middle school. This might be bad, Danny. If they decide that was child abuse, you could be court-martialed.
なに結局は俺が助けてやったんだから問題ねえだろレイプも行かせちまえば無罪ってのと同じだぜ
I beg to differ. No, that's still a crime, actually.
冗談じゃありませんよ
Whoops! The young miss does indeed appear to be upset. What do we do, Danny?
助けていただいたことには深く感謝をしますですがもう少しマシな方法もあったのではないでしょうかと私はここに異議を申し立てるものです
She looks really adorable, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
返り血を浴びたり海に突き落とされたり助けを求めても指さしてゲラゲラ笑ってたり必死に桟橋に近づこうとすればボートのオールで頭をこづかれたり
Okay, hold on. We saved you. That's all. You know what? Danny's like, I don't fucking know what she's fucking saying.
散々ですよ訴えてやります
Please, no. Oh, no.
おいショーティーさっきからこのお嬢ちゃんは何を怒ってるんだ
Don't know. Sounds like she didn't appreciate the roughness of our rescue.
生き残っておいて文句を言うとは平和で贅沢な話だなまあそうカッカするなよお嬢ちゃんガム食うか日本人はガム好きだろん
You want some gum? Come on, Danny. Japanese middle schoolers don't swarm GIs for candy these days. It's not 1946 anymore.
だから私中学生じゃないです
Yeah, that's why I was... Oh my god. That's why I was like, middle schooler. Apparently, Chizuru took exception to my 6'3" comrade patting her on the head and offering her sugarless chewing gum. She responded by pulling a wallet from her pocket and showing us the driver's license within it. Hey, Danny, take a look at this.
なんだそりゃ
A Japanese driver's license. This lady was born in the Showa era.
昭和ってなんだ
Sorry, it's a Japanese thing. Means before 1989, basically.
はつうことは何かこのお嬢ちゃんは24歳で俺より年上なのか
This is great. Yeah, I guess she would be.
おい冗談なんだろ勘弁してくれよショーティーこの子に比べりゃ今年小学校に上がったエディの姪っ子の方がまだ大人びて見えるぞ
God damn it.
日本人ってのは本当に幼く見えるんだな
Well, I think this one's kind of a special case, actually.
だからこれって言いながら頭をポンポンしないでください
Also, I already know your name because it's been telling me the whole time. Fucking Chizuru, dude.
年上ですよ。お姉さんなんですよ。しかも私は先生なんですよ。学園長なんですよ。もう許しませんよ。
And to think, I'll be giving her even more shit later down the line.
面白い。俺の実家の近所にこんな風にキャンキャン吠える犬飼ってるばあさんがいるぜ。
We're just fucking laughing. God damn it. Anyway, given the way we met, I've always had a hard time talking respectfully to Chizuru. It'd be a pain to try and change that now, so I'm not as polite as I should be.
そんな目に遭っておきながら、千鶴さんもよくあなたみたいな男を自分の学園に入学させようと思ったわよね。
I know, right? But I did save her life. I shot that shot. Well, she had her pride as a grown-up, I guess. She said she wanted to repay us for saving her life. The woman's got some clout in academic circles, so she managed to help Danny's sister get into a Japanese university as a foreign student. But there wasn't really anything I wanted, so I tried to decline. Chizuru was stubborn about it, though. Told me to say anything at all. At the time, I never really gotten to experience an ordinary school life, so just on a whim, I told her I'd like to try being a normal student at a normal school. And that's, well, how I ended up where I am today. It all's coming up Millhouse.
それでも、朝子が生きていれば、あなたも美浜に行こうだなんて思わなかったんじゃない？
Oh, that's the next hurdle. Well, probably not. Oh no. No, it's coming. After completing my training and examinations at Narashino, I received the stamp of approval to graduate from trainee to agent, officially inheriting Asuko's ID number. In no time at all, my workload increased dramatically. I'm already getting sad. I imagine it had something to do with that 2,000-meter shot I landed in Vancouver because I'm awesome, just after returning from America and obtaining auxiliary status. But as a full-fledged agent, I found myself in demand both domestically and abroad. It might be an exaggeration to say I was doing the work of 10 men, but my employer definitely kept me hopping from one job to the next. And they generally deployed me to support teams in sore need of assistance. I suppose it's only natural, but the teams in question tended to greet me with words like, "Thanks for coming," or "We're expecting a lot from you." Until this point, I hadn't experienced much in the way of trust from strangers. So these enthusiastic welcomes weighed pretty damn heavily on my shoulders, and I often pushed myself harder than necessary to avoid letting them down. Taking Asuko's place, I traveled all around the world as 9029, consistently producing results 50% beyond expectations of my client in any given situation. After a while, I began to realize that trying any harder wasn't necessary, since overly positive evaluations only made life more difficult in the long run. And around the same time, I started gaining some actual confidence in myself and my ability to succeed in this line of work. One day, I even found myself mouthing off a bit in front of my master. Whoo! Excuse me? You know, I think I might be a match for you by now, Asuko. Woo! To me, Kusukabe Asuko wasn't just a master to follow. She was a mother worthy of devotion, and a father who I wanted to surpass. Every time I pulled off a difficult shot in the field, I jubilantly shouted, "How you like that?" in my mind. And those words were always directed at Asuko. Silently, I'd call out to her in celebration, "Just watch me. See how much your student has grown." Of course, I also tried to act totally nonchalant about my teammates, or around my teammates, not about them. As if none of this was any big challenge for Kusukabe Asuko's apprentice. At the time, it made me feel pretty good about myself. Up until this point, I'd worked my ass off over and over again to produce superb results, hoping to bolster Asuko's reputation by proving my effectiveness as a tool. It felt like I'd earned a few points of praise, a few words of praise by now. And yet...
なーにこの野郎。調子こきやがって。ちと表出ろてめえ。
Come on, let's go! Asuko growled at me angrily, crushed the empty beer can in her hand, then grabbed her rifle and rose to her feet. By this point, her right eye was almost entirely useless. I was handling virtually all the work, while she enjoyed a retirement mainly occupied by drinking, eating, and sleeping, as most people in retirement would do. When you go 3 days without firing a rifle, it takes a week to get the feel for it again. I hadn't seen Asuko take a single shot in the last 6 months. I didn't think there was any chance she could beat me, and I honestly didn't want her to fire a gun ever again. I'd take care of those jobs for her from now on. I wanted the rest of her life to be peaceful.
し。そこまで言うなら相手になってやる。勝負だ。
She's fucking drunk too. You sure about this? You're obviously drunk.
酔ってる時にだって敵は来るさ。この程度で撃てなくなるやつが生き残ってるわけねえだろ。
You can't use your right eye anymore, can you?
右が見えなきゃ左で見るだけのことだ。お前みたいな尻に殻くっつけたひよこ野郎相手にはちょうどいいハンデだ。
Damn. Oh, hey. Now you're just being ridiculous. The nature of our duel was simple. Asuko would drop an empty beer can into the nearby river, and we'd let it float along for 10 minutes. After that, the first person who landed a shot on it would be the winner. Oh, the rules were easy enough, but the game itself was genuinely challenging. After 10 minutes floating downstream, the can would travel far enough to be invisible to the naked eye. And this particular river followed a complicated path through the woods, so our target would have actually disappeared from view in less than a minute. The terrain was such that you couldn't hope to catch up by sprinting after it. Asuko and I both knew the layout of this mountain intimately. It would come down to us lying in wait, trying to land the first hit by aiming at a point where the can was likely to flow past. 10 minutes later, I was running through the woods carrying my favorite rifle. Back when my pet dog was alive, rest in peace, I'd run through this mountain every morning. It was basically my backyard. I knew plenty of landmarks in these woods that Asuko didn't. And of course, she'd basically retired from active duty. I was confident that I'd win. Asuko clearly wanted me to make me eat my words. But I wasn't about to let her. I had my pride as a full-fledged agent. Today, I was going to turn the tables and show my master a thing or two. The master, or the apprentice, becomes the master. In the first place, I was a little angry at Asuko for underestimating me so badly. Did she really think I was going to have trouble sniping a floating can? I'd actually given myself this exact challenge a number of times back in the day, on my daily walks with John. Again, rest in peace. And from experience, I'd identified a number of ideal locations for sniping. Soon enough, I was laying prone at one of those points, the edge of a cliff, looking down on part of the river where it grew deeper and slower. The distance was about 800 meters. It's not as bad as what we normally are used to, huh? Peering into my scope, I studied the area through the lines of my reticle. Swaying treetops showed me the wind. Heaving water showed me the river's flow. Mentally calculating the time it would take a bullet to reach my target, I set my sights on the point where I expected the can to appear. Alright, I got this. I couldn't resist a silent chuckle. I'd already convinced myself this was the day I'd finally surpass Asuko. All I had to do was wait for the can to float into view. In my experience, I'd usually have about 11 seconds to fire after spotting the target from here. A bit less if rain had fallen the day before. But just as I was bracing myself, expecting the can to enter my field of vision at any moment, I heard that sound. What? What? It was unmistakably a rifle shot. Specifically, the familiar sound of Osco's M40A1. Where'd that come from? Even as the thought was flashing through my mind, I saw something unbelievable through my scope. The empty beer can floated peacefully into view, indifferent to my panic, and then burst silently apart. I hadn't even gotten a chance to pull the trigger. All I could do was lie there and watch the broken can sink beneath the water's surface. Damn it! Damn it! Jumping hurriedly to my feet, I turned to look up at the mountain behind me. The cabin was about halfway up the mountain, another 400 meters or so above it. There was a small clearing. It was the place where Osco had made a grave for John. From all the way up there? It was an impossible shot to be sure. But we... Yuuji. No one knows impossible. The firing distance would increase to 1,400 meters, but the higher elevation gave you a longer window to fire. I'd carelessly assumed Osco wouldn't try something like that without the use of her right eye, and it cost me. The fucking smug face, pointing my rifle toward the spot where Osco was likely positioned. I looked into my scope, and sure enough, she was standing there, her white teeth gleaming in the sun. Damn it, she's laughing at me. For some reason, I found that utterly frustrating. I'd never really gotten the chance to go through a rebellious phase with my actual parents, so at the time, I didn't recognize this feeling for what it was. I responded to Osco's condescending smirk by raising my right hand and thrusting my index finger up into the air. One more round. My message evidently got across. Within my scope, I saw Osco give an emphatic nod and hold her arms up in a circle. We proceeded to repeat the same challenge. The second time around, I was holding my breath to fire when a bullet zipped across my field of vision. Startled, I reflexively looked around the area, and Osco took the opportunity to line up a shot on the can. There wasn't any rule about not interfering with the opposing sniper. In fact, trying to locate and disrupt your opponent is just a common sense method of defense on the battlefield. In the third round, Osco shot a branch off an overhanging tree just as I was preparing to fire, shifting the course of the can. I hurriedly adjusted my scope, but she claimed the target a few seconds before I could. Dude, she has way more tricks up her sleeve than we ever could. There wasn't any rule against modifying the target's path either. In the end, I challenged Osco 3 times and suffered 3 clear defeats. There wasn't much to do except moan.
うぐじゃねえんだバカ。ちっと実践経験したぐらいでのぼせやがってんじゃねえよ。お前なんざまだまだど下手くそだってこれで分かったか。
Well, I guess I am. It's in a precision sniping contest held under fair and equal conditions. I was confident Osco wouldn't have beaten me. However, the battlefield was a stage where I'd put my skills to work, and you couldn't expect a fair duel there. Real combat was all about disrupting and deceiving your opponent.
いいかユージ、勝って兜の尾を締めよってな、よく聞くことわざだが、こいつはまさに真理だ。やれる。今日の俺は絶好調だ。そんな風に思っている時に限ってくだらないミスをする。一度ミスをすれば生きては帰れない。次はないんだ。
Fucking even more truer words of wisdom.
だからこそ勝った時は考えるんだよ。なぜ今日は勝てたのか。どうすればもっと上手に勝てたのか。それが努力と工夫ってやつだ。今日私がやってみせたことは、私が現場で何度も試し、何度も改良を重ねて成功し続けてきた技の一部で、いわゆる得意技というやつだ。これは極論になっちまうし、変な癖をつけちまわないようにあえてお前には教えなかったが、狙撃ってやつは突き詰めた話、得意技を持っているやつが生き残る。たとえどんな悪条件にあっても当てるのが当たり前。その当たり前の中でもより得意で確実な条件に持ち込む。いや、 引きずり込むって方が正しいが、不利な条件の中、わずかでも得意な条件を作り出すところから狙撃ってのは始まってる。勝っている時こそ、乗っている時こそ、勝つための努力を怠るな。これからの人生、お前が見て、聞いて、感じるものすべてがお前が勝つヒントになる。
For the ramblings of a drunkard, that sounded surprisingly profound.
お前な、今のお前なら理解できると思って私は恥ずかしいのを我慢してマジ説教してやってるのに、その態度はなんだ。
I always do. I know. I'm embarrassed too. By my own arrogance. Thanks, Asuko. You made it very clear that I still have a long way to go.
下を見て安心するな。上を見て悩みながら生きろ。いつまでいてやれるかはわからんが、私がお前の目標でいてやるよ。
No! Don't say things like that. You're too cool, Asuko. I've fallen for you all over again. I was very lucky to have a goal ahead of me on the path I'd chosen to follow. I'd climbed the way up a flight of stairs, growing with every step. But by the time I reached the landing, my goal had moved even higher up the staircase. It seemed like I'd never be able to reach it, and that meant I could chase it forever. As long as I had Asuko, I could keep going. Oh no. On that day, my ego received a much-needed reality check, and I realized once again exactly how huge a presence Asuko was in my life. That defeat also made one other thing painfully clear. I didn't know how to flexibly adapt to unexpected circumstances in the field. No matter how many tips or tricks or techniques that I learned, they weren't going to do me much good unless I could combine and apply them as the situation required. In other words, my fundamental lack of experience had come to bite me in the ass again. It was the inescapable conclusion. Ever since I started living with Asuko, my inexperience had caused me all sorts of problems. But after following her example and joining the military, I thought I'd close the gap in our practical knowledge. Of course, my crushing defeat proved otherwise, and I was left more than a little ashamed by my previous arrogance. So I look up the sky. After that day, I asked JB to keep me working constantly. Up until then, she'd been picking out the jobs only I could handle, limiting the scope of my assignments. It made things simpler, given my unusual background and numerous weaknesses. By the end of the day, that meant I was avoiding any real challenges, sabotaging my own potential for growth. In the words of Kusakabe Asuko,
ガキはガキらしく元気に生きろ。経験もなければ想像力もないガキには元気しかない。元気でなければ若者である意味もない。
there it is, them's the words.
金やら時間やら体力やら、そんな無駄を怖がるのはジジイになってからでも十分だ。
In other words, experiences and/or hardships that might seem pointless when we're young can actually go a long way toward determining your breadth as a person. 10 years down the line, it wasn't so different from what Kazuki used to say. Live your life imagining the person you'll be 10 years from now. I nodded and agreed with Asuko's words, but it'd probably be another decade before I really understood them. In any case, after that day, I asked JB to assign me any job I can possibly handle, as opposed to the jobs only I can do. I told her I'd do anything, even dog walking or babysitting. She took this a little bit more literally than I'd expected. Of course, my babysitting stint wasn't exactly your typical part-time job. After the leaders of a Colombian drug smuggling organization were exposed, its accountant was arrested and offered a plea bargain in exchange for testimony. And he accepted, on the condition that his family's safety would be guaranteed. What's more, the man insisted he didn't want to worry his wife, 36, and child, 9. They couldn't be placed in protective custody and had to be guarded without their knowledge. Given the circumstances, 8 agents were selected to monitor and protect the family in their current home. Well, as part of that team. Me! Kazami Yuuji occupation sniper man. I infiltrated the accountant's home in the role of a new employee at the company where he worked, and was tasked mainly with looking after his young daughter. I took my place as a bodyguard easily enough, but the girl in question turned out to be a shockingly nasty little brat. Basically, the kid was just full of herself. She demanded preferential treatment from everyone at all times, and she fully expected that anything she wanted would become hers. As an only child who'd been spoiled rotten, she didn't realize how selfish she was being. I'd have preferred to lock her up in her room, but unfortunately that really wasn't an option. All too often, I found myself accompanying this little lady on her shopping expeditions as a bag boy of sorts. The instant we entered one of her favorite stores, the 9-year-old princess would point her finger at one item after the other, demanding, "This one and this one," until I was about ready to snap. And you don't want to snapping. As the trip wore on, I was trudging along behind her carrying countless bags, almost wishing for some kind of trouble to arise so I'd have an excuse to throw it all aside. When the little lady abruptly stopped, turned around and said, "You there, my bootlaces seem to have come undone." She didn't even bother to add a "would you please." This bitch. Of course, from this little lady's point of view, it was only natural that I'd help. It just wasn't clear how exactly she expected me to do that, given both my hands were fucking full. As I stood there trying to decide how to proceed, she shrugged theatrically and said, "You Japanese really aren't very considerate, are you?" What the shit? That was the last straw. Not long after, I found myself whining to JB over the phone. "JB, I've had it up to here." I used up the last of my patience, resisting the urge to shout, "Tie your own damn shoes, you brat! I can't take this anymore. I'm begging you, put someone else in for me."
もうギブアップなの？何でもいいから仕事くれって言い出したのはあなたよ。それに女の子は得意でしょ？
Not this woman. She's a child, not a woman. And more importantly, I'm allergic to people who decide they're special and don't even try to put themselves in anyone else's shoes.
世の中なんてそういう人間ばっかりよ。何のための経験なの？朝子の言葉を思い出しなさい。忍耐、努力、工夫。この3つで乗り切れない問題なんてめったにないわ。
Yeah, but I'm seriously at my wit's end here. I don't know how to deal with children.
あなたを引き取った直後の朝子も同じようなことで悩んでよく私に電話してきたわ。あなたが朝子にしてもらって嬉しかったことをその子にもしてあげればいいのよ。
You telling me to give her a blowjob? Because I can't do that.
電話じゃなかったら殴ってるわよ。そういう冗談はやめなさい。
It's literally impossible. Wait, I think I get it. Fucking stupid. I don't know how to deal with her because I'm thinking of her as a child. All I have to do is pretend she's a slightly undersized lady, right? She already bought herself clothes and a bag, so the next step would be a sappy movie, then a meal at a nice Italian place. I'm starting to get the picture. God damn it. When she starts tearing up during the cheesy romance movie, glance over and ask, "Are you crying?" She'll deny it indignantly. Pretty cute. When you get to the restaurant, tease her for being a sloppy eater and wipe her cheek with your napkin. Jesus Christ. Then add something like, "But I guess that's part of your charm," and watch her face go red. Cute, right? Once you've gotten through a few after-dinner drinks, she'll inevitably start complaining about her job. Listen quietly. Even if you disagree, don't say so. Just nod, make sympathetic noises every once in a while, and wait for her to state the conclusion she's already reached well in advance. Once it finally comes out, along with a deep sigh, offer her a bit of gentle advice. All you need to do is give her a little hint. Maybe you could approach it this way instead. After that, her stubbornness will melt away, leaving her surprisingly sweet and grateful. See? She really is cute. In other words, it's the same as with you.
何だよ。なんか勝手に一人で納得しないでよ。
Sorry, I think I figured out a way to approach this. That's all. Thanks, Julia. You're always there for me when I need you, and I really am grateful.
あ、うん。なんか、まあいいけど。
Mind if I call you up again if I run into any more trouble?
いいわよ。そのための担当官なんだから。
Thanks, JB. I love you. When I finish up this job, I'll bring a souvenir back to Japan for you. Talk to you later.
気をつけてね。幸運を。
Good lord. Even loudmouth, shaggy-headed women can be sweet and adorable if you adjust your attitude appropriately. I'd already mastered that particular skill. Thinking of the girl I was protecting as a mini JB made the whole problem seem almost trivially easy. It was as simple as changing my mindset. Of course, a romance movie wouldn't be appropriate for a 9-year-old girl. Yes, no, please don't do that. Buying her dinner, getting her a bit tipsy, and listening to her complain about school wasn't exactly a possibility either. Nope. God damn it. Instead, I could just follow Asuko's example and take the little lady to the nearest zoo. Afterward, we could stop to eat at one of the nicer, kid-friendly restaurants in town. At that point, a casual question like, is school fun? Should get her to open up a bit. My side of the conversation, of course, would be nothing but the occasional, I see, that's amazing, or, it's not your fault, yeah. At the very end, I'd just act sympathetic and give some vague advice like, why don't you start trying to resolve their misunderstandings? That would definitely work on JB, but will that apply for the mini JB subspecies as well? Subspecies! Combining tricks as the situation dictates, you find your way to the correct answer. Sometimes you force your way there. When you're at a disadvantage, you flip it into an advantage. That's probably what it means to be flexible. Knowledge and experience you gain in one field can often be applied creatively in many others. When you view something you're bad at through the lens of something you're good at, even problems that seemed impossible sometimes melt away easily. I'd almost given up on life entirely once. Now I was starting to think I might be getting the hang of it. But before I could really savor that feeling, a certain phone call arrived. No, don't do this to me. JB? Huh? What? Hey, JB, nice timing. Do you want a penguin or a polar bear for your souvenir?
そんなこと言ってる場合じゃないわよ。急いで日本に戻ってきて、できるだけ早く。
It's happening, isn't it? What happened?
朝子が倒れた。もう長くない。急いで。
Alright. Clouds always follow the sunshine. I have to keep going, guys. I can't stop. I need to get these tears out now. At times when you think everything's going well, are when you're in the greatest of danger. The moment you let your guard down, the devil's hand reaches out for you. The moment I got the phone call, my mind went absolutely blank. I couldn't immediately process the things JB was telling me, and I couldn't remember exactly how I replied either. I gotta get back. There was nothing else in my mind. I had to get back as soon as I possibly could. That single thought swirled through my mind again and again. Asuko collapsed? There isn't much time. What's that supposed to mean? I don't even remember the way I got back to Japan after receiving that phone call from JB. I know I kept my cell phone clutched tightly in my hand the whole way. When I finally looked up after hours of staring at my feet, I found signs in Japanese all around me. The meaning of the characters didn't register. It almost felt like I was dreaming. Don't panic. It won't do anyone any good. You need to calm down. I glanced down at my watch, but I couldn't read the numbers on its face. Fuck! I couldn't bring myself to care either. What did the time matter? Realizing that I could barely feel my feet touching the ground, I abruptly stopped walking and looked down at the screen of my cell phone. which I'd been holding for God knows how long. The notification light was flashing. I'd received 3 emails. All of them were JB. The first was a simple summary of what happened to Asuko and the location of the hospital where she'd been admitted, with a street map attached. The second contained a timetable showing the quickest way for me to return to Japan, along with a simple certificate that granted me emergency permission to utilize military transport. The third message said that Asuko had been discharged from the hospital at her own insistence, and explained that her physical condition remained highly unstable. In other words, I need to head back to Yamanashi. Belatedly, the meaning of the words on my screen sank home. Looking up from the cell phone, I glanced around and hailed a nearby taxi, then gave the driver the name of the mountain where Asuko's cabin stood. I was aware Asuko had entered the reserve primarily because of her poor health, and I knew her illness was a kind of vein thrombosis. The original cause was a capillary rupture she'd suffered in her youth when hit by a shot from a large caliber gun. Its after effects had grown progressively worse over the years. Looking back on it now, there was more than a few warning signs. In the middle of cooking something, her hands would go numb, and she'd drop the knife to the floor. Sometimes she'd look me right in the face, but struggle to remember my name for a moment. Her right eye slowly lost its vision, until eventually it couldn't even tell darkness from light. Once or twice she broke down sobbing after a few drinks, and I had to carry her to bed. In retrospect, all of that was probably related to the blood clot that was forming near her brainstem.
今まで散々いじめてきた体だからな。今さらいたわったところでどうにもならん。
Watching Asuko try to put a brave face on, I told myself that it was my turn to protect her. I'd assumed that vein thrombosis was a curable condition. Oh God. Of course, she'd been going to a doctor and receiving periodic treatment. An ordinary case of thrombosis might very well have cleared up. The booster drugs she'd been using habitually for many years probably had something to do with the way things turned out. Oh yeah. Oh God, the music. Her blood vessels were already fragile, and the thrombosis had caused multiple chronic inflammations. There wasn't much the doctors could do.
Yuuji.
God damn it. Don't do this to me right now. Sorry I'm late. How's Asuko doing?
昨日からずっと寝たり起きたりの繰り返し。起きていられる時間がどんどん短くなってきてる。
I see. You guys ready to see Baby Scott? Because that's what's gonna fucking happen. This cabin had been our den for a long time. Over the years, Asuko and I had ingrained it with our scents. Whenever I returned, she'd been waiting here to welcome me back with a smile. But now the place seemed oddly empty and cold. Oh, God fucking damn it. In the same bedroom where we'd slept in each other's arms, Asuko was lying with her eyes shut, silent and alone. I'm home, Asuko. Sorry it took so long. Twitching in response to my voice, Asuko slowly woke up from her slumber. Hey! Huh? Oh, God. She stared up at me, barely holding her eyes open, and extended her hand without a word. I silently took it in mine, following her example. Asuko's hand was much colder than I'd imagined it would be. It didn't belong to the woman I'd known. This hand had wrapped itself around mine when I was young, but it felt very small now.
おかえり、ユージ。
Asuko's voice was slightly raspy. The sound of it filled my chest with an inexpressible sadness. The woman I'd known didn't have such a weak voice. She was a force of nature, a human tornado, a superwoman. Hey, Asuko, are you going to die? There's nothing they can do?
ああ、何年も前からこうなることは分かってたんだ。
I can't do anything?
お前にはお前のやるべきことがあるだろ。
Who cares about that crap? Weren't you going to decide the meaning of my life for me?
すまんな、ユージ。生き方を教えてやるなんて大それたことを口にしておきながら、結局は日の当たらない仕事の手腕を仕込むだけで精一杯だった。
What are you saying? I'm still just a stupid kid. No good at anything I try. Didn't you tell me? I got a hell of a long way to go. Don't go dying on me now, damn it.
お前は相変わらず泣き虫だな。男は簡単に泣くなって教えただろ。
Shut up. Someone I love just told me she's dying. So let me cry if I want to.
いいか、ユージ。人間ってのはな、死ぬために生まれてくるんだ。形のあるものはいつか壊れて、生きてるものはいつか必ず死ぬ。生まれてきた意味なんてのは死ぬ時に初めてわかるもんだ。今まで散々お前に偉そうなことを言ってきた私だけどな。私だって生きる意味なんて分かっちゃいなかったし、いつ死んでもおかしくない生き方をしてきた。それでも今はなんとなくだけどわかる気がする。軍人として生きてきた私には軍人らしい最後が必要で、軍人は自分のやるべきことをやってから死ぬ。仕方のないことだと言い訳をしては何人も敵を殺して何人もの仲間を助けた。おまけにユージ、お前を死なせずに済んだんだ。私はもう十分に生きた。そうだろ？
Don't be so damn irresponsible. I'm only here because you saved me. And now you want to leave me on my own? Listen, Hasuko. If you can't pull the trigger anymore, I'll do it for you. I'd do anything for you, alright? You're the only thing I have left. What am I supposed to do with my life if you're gone? My whole life was one betrayal after another. But at the end, I decided to trust you, to live for you. You were my goal, the one thing that kept me going. You can't just disappear on me.
もういいんだ。もうお前は自分のために生きてもいいんだ。今のお前なら何だってできる。失敗したって 何度でも立ち上がれる。私はお前をそういう男に育てたつもりだ。
You don't understand. I could do anything because I had you. I can endure anything. I knew I had a home waiting for me. That's why I never gave up, no matter how bad things got. And now, what am I supposed to do now? Please, Asako. Am I just going to stand here and lose someone else I love? What's the point of a future without you anyway?
これからの人生でそれを見つけりゃいいんだよ。もっとあがけ。人生なんてもっとジタバタしていいんだ。楽に生きようとするな。
You're the one to talk. Don't just give up, damn it. Makes your lectures a lot less convincing.
お前と一緒にするな。私はな、死ぬことを許されたんだよ。軍人ってやつはな、出撃した初日にぽっくりと落っちんじまうやつもいれば、どんなに過酷な戦場に放り込まれてもしぶとく生きて戻るやつもいる。その二つの違いはな、お前はもういい、よく頑張ったと死を許されるやつ。そしてお前にはまだやることが残っていると死を許してもらえないやつの違いだ。私は許されたんだよ。わかるか、ユージ。
What the hell's that supposed to mean? Who gave you permission? God?
さあな、多分そうなんじゃねえか。
That old asshole. Give me his address and social security number. I'll blow his brains out from 2,000 meters.
バカだなお前は。あまり笑わせるなよ。ユージ、今何時だ
4:13 in the afternoon.
そっか。今日は星が綺麗だな。
Yeah, they're beautiful.
お前が私のところに来てしばらく経ったある日、お前は夜中にベッドを抜け出してこんな夜空を見上げてたよな。
Yeah.
あの時お前何を考えてたんだ？
I don't remember.
だろうな。そう言うと思ってたよ。少し疲れたな。 もう寝てもいいか。
Yeah. Sleep well, Asuko. I watched as Asuko fell quietly and peacefully into sleep. In the end, she never woke up again. Strangely enough, I didn't cry. Liar, I am. All I could feel was a dazed awareness of the cold, gaping hole in my heart. JB couldn't find much to say to me, but she quietly took care of Asuko's body. There was no funeral. After all, anyone who'd come to Kusakabe Asuko's funeral was probably going to end up in exactly the same place as her sooner or later. Oh God. I think I need a break now. I was crying that entire fucking time. As you could probably tell in my voice. I guess, enjoy this extra long play period, I suppose. I'm gonna go wipe away my nose, my tears, my everything. God damn it, why? I'm such a baby. But you know what? At least I can cry, damn it. At least I know how to cry.